son of a bitch.
That's right. We're back. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Phantasy Star Universe, Ambition of the Illuminus. We're gonna pick up right where we left off as usual. We finished chapter 6 last time, so we're starting chapter 7. But first, character management. Okay. I remember that. The menu button spam at the end of last stream. It was right here is where we cut it off, so. You don't get to name your partner machine when you make your own custom character online, unfortunately. Only Ethan got the privilege of naming his, you know, Pete. And that was it. Which I'm wondering, now that he's in hiding, did he keep him with him? Because he obviously lost his Guardian's headquarters little apartment barracks thing here that we're in right now. So I wonder if he lost Pete. It'd be sad if he did. But who knows? He was a real one though.
Dylan!
Rest in peace. I'm sure he's fine. He's fine, I'm sure. It's been a while. Had to take a 3-day weekend. This feels refreshing. I like getting back on the horse. So I had to take 3 days off streaming. So I made it a schedule thing to take Saturday and Sunday off, so those 2 days were expected. The third day, kind of like last week where it was on a Tuesday, this time it was Monday. It was kind of unexpected because I had some errands to run, just like last Tuesday. But I actually thought I didn't cancel yesterday's stream until the last minute because I actually thought I was going to make it back home in time, but I didn't. The one on Tuesday, I knew ahead of time I wasn't going to make it, so I canceled it way ahead of time. Like, I canceled it the very morning of, or the day before, or something like that. But yesterday's, I didn't cancel till like an hour before. I was like, shit. I went to the schedule and canceled it because I thought I was going to be able to make it home in time, but nah, I had to run too many errands. But I should have the rest of this week just fine. So, Protect the Festa 1. The hell is this? The Guardians are in charge of security for the annual Holy Light Festa. Laya's team will travel to New Days to accommodate this. Okay. Oh yeah, I should slow it down. Narration time. While being moved to a GRM medical facility on Parum to undergo a medical examination, Hugo Wright went missing. Here's the recap for what's happened so far in the story. I need this refresher after 3 days. GRM had manipulated the transfer logs and Laya's team followed Hyuga onto a cargo train where they unexpectedly saw Magashi. Laya's group, still unnoticed, arrived at a mysterious research facility and managed to rescue Hyuga from a medical capsule. A questioned research facility manager refused to admit Hyuga's mistaken transfer, but revealed orders to study the seed virus came from the AMF. The Alliance Military Federation or whatever. Actually, I don't know what I think it's Force. The Alliance Military Force or something. Can't remember what the F stands for. Laya strongly suspects the Illuminus of using GRM to advance research of the seed virus.
We will choose to fight for a world beyond.
You suck!
I had to try, alright? Try what? To look like an edgelord? Yes. An edgelord screaming about his fate or something. Saying we'll choose to fight. I don't know. I was trying to think of a series of anime tropes. I don't know. to know. Episode 2, Chapter 7, The Festival of Light. I took that intro time to catch up on some Discord messages real quick. Mina says, welcome to the Guardians, protecting the future of Garal. What's up, Mina? Mina says, I've confirmed your Guardian's license. Yeah. For today's mission, you'll be providing security for the Holy Light Festival on New Days. The Holy Light Festival. Excuse me. Laya says, we do security for the festival every year. It's usually a pretty cushy job. Because usually nothing happens, right? It's all good. But we're playing a video game, so we as the player already know that's not gonna happen this year. This year, shit's gonna go down, and we're gonna have to fight. I mean, it's, you know... You played enough video games, you eventually realize... you can start to predict things like that. Laya says, but that doesn't mean that you should get too comfortable. Got it? I know. Because something is definitely gonna happen. I mean, they're not gonna design a video game where you just sit there and do nothing for a whole chapter. Well, then again, maybe these days, maybe you might actually run into a game like that or two. Once in a while, you know. Mostly indie games now take risks like that. But, I know back in these days you wouldn't have seen something like that, though. You got the troops in line, I see. Oh, it's Leo.
Dylan!
No, it's Leo, but... Laya says Leo! She got it right. Leo says, I'll be your partner on this mission. It'll be nice to work with you.
You son of a bitch.
Laya says, yeah. Nice. Why is she getting all nervous? Is her crush on Leo that bad? Is she down bad, like, for Leo? Is that what's, like, I know they were sort of hinting at it, but, like, why is she... Okay, even Mina caught on. Mina says, what's the matter, Laya? Your face is turning bright red. Oh my god, she totally has the hots for him. Laya says, shut up! If you keep talking like that, I'll knock you out!
You bastard! You son of a...
Leo says, you know... That's no way to talk to your friends, Laya. Oh, you're screwing up, Laya. Leo says, you should really mind your manners. He doesn't like rude women. See, Laya, you gotta pipe down. You gotta chill the fuck out. Laya says, oh, right. Sorry. Now, when the hell have you ever seen her act like that around anybody else? She actually backed down. She became submissive. She wants this dude. She is down bad for Leo. Heard it here first. I've never seen her back down like that without, like, at least some kind of sarcasm. Nothing. No, she really wants Leo. Holy shit. All right. Now we know what's up. We found her weakness. His name is Leo. I mean, like I said, they were already heavily, like, sort of implying and hinting at it, but there's so many, like, again, this comes from experience of playing a lot of video games, especially ones like these. There are so many, like, anime trope video games like this, where the relationships never go, they go fucking nowhere. Like, they're always the most platonic thing ever, dude. Like, they always, like, will sometimes just hint at people liking each other, and then it goes fucking nowhere. So I just kind of assumed that they were, like, you know, just poking fun a little bit here and there, with Laya obviously having a thing for Leo, because they kind of kept it pretty subtle. So I was like, this is probably not going to go anywhere, you know? But now they're making a big deal about it, and they're, like, really escalating it. So it's kind of like, oh, okay, maybe, you know, maybe something's going to happen. Like, maybe there'll actually be some... Like, they're escalating the tension a little bit, is what I'm saying. And I didn't expect that to happen. I thought they were going to keep it very, you know, sort of shallow and laid back, I guess. I don't know. So, like I said, just look at what happened with Ethan and Karen. That's kind of what I was expecting. Like, where it's like they sort of hinted at liking each other, but it wasn't until literally the last 5 seconds of the game where they actually, like, you know, embraced each other and showed each other, like, direct affection, you know? Literally the last 5 seconds before the screen goes dark and then the credits play. So I was kind of expecting that. Like, I thought it was just gonna be a big nothing burger. Anyway, Mina says, you really listen to what Leo says, don't you, Laya? Oh, hell no, dude. Oh my god. Laya's gonna be pissed. Is she gonna temper herself, though? She's gonna hold back in front of Leo. Nope. There we go. She's blowing up. She's like... Leia says, you better watch it. I'll knock that grin right off your face.
You bastard! Son of a bitch!
I remember your face. Leo says, Leia. And of course, Leia's like, sorry. Oh my god. Leia's down bad. Leo says, there have been reports of a possible assassination attempt on the Divine Maiden, so security has got to keep an eye out. Okay, he just changed the subject. It's like, Leia, I told you to calm the fuck down. And she's like, I'm sorry. Leo says, don't let your guard down, okay? Leia says, yeah, I got it. Well, let's go. Mina says, may the holy light guide you. Not even gonna address the fact that she got threatened directly by Leia. Mina's like, I ain't scared. Leo's got her on the leash. He does. He's got her fucking whipped already. Leo says, I can't imagine anything bad ever happening in a place like this. It does look peaceful, but hey, past experience tells us... Y'all remember that suicide bomber guy that Ethan got almost killed by? Leia says, that's exactly why this place is such a target. Yeah, that's one way to look at it, yeah. Leo says, yeah, and those terrorist attacks are becoming more and more frequent. Not to mention more violent. Leia says, is the Illuminus behind the plan to assassinate the Divine Maiden? Leo says, we don't know for sure, but it's certainly a possibility, I think it said. We got to pause on that one. Yeah, certainly a possibility. Leia says, who knows? Ethan Weber could always show up here too. Leo says, you still don't trust Ethan, do you? Leia says, he is a traitor after all. Leo says, I really don't think so, Leia. Ethan's not the type of person who would do such a thing. Leia says, so you're covering for him too? He may be your friend, but he sure is acting guilty. If I find him, you can bet that I'll catch him and throw him in jail. Even for Leo, she ain't backing down on that. She's out for blood with Ethan. She really wants to get that dude. Leo says, you'll do what you have to do, I guess. That's what she said. I noticed they both have that mark on their right arm. Right here. The little, like, tattoo thing. The hell? Okay. I was like, yeah, sorry, something weird. Yeah, so I'm guessing that's some kind of, like, birthmark for beasts or something. Never really looked into their lore, so I don't know, but... Hey! Is that you, Kurtz? Looks like him. Kurt says, hey, Leia. Leo. Oh, and hi, Lackery. We've been acknowledged for the first time in like 3 hours, I think, of, of this video. Our existence has been acknowledged. The player character is present. Kurt says, it looks like you're fully recovered. Leo says, yes, I am. Thank you. I really owe you one. Excuse me? Kurt says, don't think of it. That's our job. Are the Guardians running security for the Holy Light Festa? I've never seen anyone shorten the word festival to festa. That is the first time I've ever seen that. Leia says, yeah, as usual. But this is the first time I've ever seen the Alliance military here. That's true. Kurt says, well, even though this is hardly the first time, there have been rumors of an assassination attempt. The recent terrorist attacks have become more again frequent, and we've been forced to mobilize. Leo says, do you have any idea of who might be behind all the attacks? Kurt says no. We just go where Central Command tells us to. They never give us any specific information. Laia says, do you know about the Illuminus? Kurt says, I've heard that name before. I know that they're a secret society that's been around for a while. Laia says, I'm sure your Central Command has more info on that. The Illuminus are a pretty dangerous organization. We're keeping an eye on them too. Kurt says, I'll see what I can find out on my end. In the meantime, you guys be careful. Laia says, thanks. We will. I love how friendly Kurt is with us now. Ever since Ethan saved his life. Yeah, thank you. I swear, I'm always like one step ahead of what they're about to fucking say. That's happened too many damn times. Leo says, he sure has changed. Laia says, how so? She didn't know him back then. Leo says, he used to be so overbearing. He would always tell us to keep out of the way. Laia says, what do you think made him change? She's not gonna like the answer. He knows that. That's why he dropped his head. Leo's like, it was Ethan Weber. Laia says, Ethan! Leo says, well then, shall we go? He touched the hearts of a lot of people, Laia. A lot of people like him. Laia says, hold on a second. Like, you can't leave me hanging with that. Finish what you were saying.
Oh, shit! You bastard!
Laia says, there wouldn't be a terrorist attack way out here in the mountains. Pause, champ. Would there? I like the music here, at least. Leo says, we can't say for sure. The Communion's holy grounds are nearby. If something happens, it will have enough of an impact to stop the Holy Light Festa. Laia says, oh. But fighting terrorists can't be as bad as fighting the Seed. Could it? You know something I'm noticing about Laia here and in the more recent chapters, ever since we finished like the first two, which were basically like tutorial chapters, Laia very much acts like the new Ethan. She just seems kind of lost and confused now on a lot of stuff. And she was like this, I don't want to say a complete like hard ass. She was, never mind. She was like this hard ass and also like came across as this very like she knew what the fuck she was doing because of the fact that she was a hard ass, right? But I guess maybe that was kind of the point, is to make her seem that way in the first two chapters where you're a trainee working under her, and now they've sort of slowly pulled back the mask that she's not actually that much of an expert or like that much of a master pro expert sort of figure that really knows everything about what the hell's going on. She still very much gives off early Ethan Weber vibes, like in the early days of Ethan's career, where he was also like very like I don't know what the hell's going on kind of thing. Not as much. She's obviously, because her personality is different, like it's not like Ethan's where he's meant to be that sort of oblivious goofball stereotype anime protagonist, right? I had trouble finding the words for that. And her personality is obviously different from that, but they still are kind of giving her a little bit of that like sort of like putting imagine, and I kind of hinted at this, not hinted at it, I kind of said it already before. It's almost like they wrote the game without having thought about putting the player character in the game yet. Like, it's almost like when they first came up with this concept with the story, Laia was meant to be the player character. Like, we were originally going to play as her, the way we played as Ethan in episode 1 is what I'm getting at. And so she's kind of written that way, where it's like the story for the player is kind of told through her, as if you were controlling her and not your own character. It's almost like they added the player having their own character in the story as kind of an afterthought. That came later, after they had already kind of planned it out for it to be her instead. You know what I mean? But they changed it early enough in the project that they could obviously, you know, accommodate it without it looking too sloppy or whatever. But you still see hints of that. You see hints of the original concept, I think, where it's where she was obviously probably meant to be the player character, and so they kind of make her oblivious to a lot of things so that she can kind of almost say what the player is thinking in some points, where you're kind of asking questions like, I'm not familiar with this, I wonder what's going on here. So then she's the one who asks those questions because it just made your actual character doesn't talk, you know. The actual player character doesn't say anything, so they just make somebody else. They do the, like, literally Square Enix did the same thing with FF14 with Alphino in Realm Reborn, and I felt this on my very first playthrough of that game. My very first playthrough of FF14, the base game where you start, because you have to play the game in order, the expansions in order, the whole story, right? So very first playthrough, I got that exact same vibe from Alphino in the base game, the very first expansion, I guess, when they remade the game or whatever, where you're forced to start the game now whenever you get it. Like, you sign up and make a new account, you make a new character. In Realm Reborn, I got that vibe from Alphino. I was like, Alphino is like how I'm describing Laia right here, like the surrogate player character, like, because your character doesn't say hardly shit, like you hardly ever get a chance to speak. It's usually just these little one-off answer choice prompts that are inconsequential, right? I was like, most of like the player character is represented mostly by Alphino, and in this case Laia, in very much the same way that I just described. So it's like, it's definitely something that that you see in other games too. That's something that out of the games I've personally played, I've observed it at least in 2, including this one now. Because you would think if she was like a super expert pro, she would know these things already. But Leo's explaining everything to her. Like, she's clearly way newer than him, and he's the actual like veteran who knows what's up, what's been going on. He's been around the block, you know. But they've never actually said how long Laia's been on the Force, I think. Like, I don't think they've said how new she is. How new or not new she is, I guess. I don't know. We just know she's a veteran compared to us, our character. But that's it. But it could be by just like a factor of like a few months or a year at most or something. Who knows? Leo says, I sure hope not. He's referencing, I know I talked a lot, so since we got off the main story path, she was asking if, you know, if there could possibly be an attack out here, and he said, I sure hope not. Leo says, in any case, let's start making the night rounds to make sure that there isn't some kind of disturbance out here. Leo says, hey, isn't that the Divine Maiden? Oh shit. What do you think she's doing in a place like this? Karen. The only Karen that doesn't act like a Karen. Karen's surprised. Excuse me. But she almost did when we first met her. She was almost kind of like Laia to a certain degree. Slightly different flavor, but, you know, very authoritative and all that. The guard says, don't come any closer. Don't come any closer! Maiden, please stay back! I was channeling, no, not Nikolai. The other guy from Resident Evil 3. Mikhail, there it is. Karen says, it's alright. They're guardians. The guard says, oh. Well, they're on their toes at least. Laia says, hey, fancy meeting you here. There's something I've always wanted to ask you, Maiden. Hey! One of the guards. He doesn't like her addressing her so casually, right? Yep, there it is. I fucking called it. He says, show proper respect when addressing the Divine Maiden.
You bastard!
Karen says, it's alright. You really helped me out that time. Leo says, we didn't mean to intrude. My apologies. Let's get going. Laya says, Leo, wait. I want to ask the maiden something. Karen says nothing. I think she kind of knows. Yep, here it comes. Laya says, it's about your relationship with Ethan Weber. Oh, is that where they're going with this? He failed when he tried to abduct you, and he's still out there. Leo says, Laya! You're on a line! Karen stays quiet. Dude, that fucking... the hip window on this. It's pretty wide. Never noticed it because there was never a camera angle like that before. You always only see her like directly facing the player or directly facing away, but never from the side. Laya says, why did Ethan Weber try to abduct you? Karen says, that's... The tension is palpable. Karen says, that's... The guard says, what are you talking about? Don't upset the Divine Maiden.
You son of a...
Laya says, you be quiet.
You suck!
Leo says, Laya, hey! I bet you need to calm down. Excuse me, Maiden. Is there a problem? More guards. Well, one of them says, you're interrupting the ceremony. Please leave, guardians or no. Laya says, Maiden! Answer my question, basically. She ain't gonna get her answer. Leo says, Laya, are you coming? Laya says, alright, fine. But be careful. It looks like someone is planning something. Pause, champ. For the Holy Light Festa. Karen says, thank you, after a brief pause. May the Holy Light be with you. I feel like they're gonna start drawing parallels in some form or fashion between Ethan and Karen's relationship and Laya and Leo. I think that's why they actually started ramping that up. May not happen in this chapter, but I think it probably will, considering, but much later, I feel. Much later in this chapter, at least. Laya says, she sure is a strange one. It's hard to explain what I mean, but I'll know it when I see it if it goes down that road. Otherwise, well, this will probably never come up again. Leo says, why do you say that? Laya says, well, she looked like she was hiding something. Leo says she's clearly tired. Laya says, I've always wondered why the Divine Maiden let Ethan escape. Yeah, same. Leo says, that's... He went quiet. Laya says, because Ethan wasn't trying to abduct the Divine Maiden, right? Maybe she was the one who wanted to escape. Bingo. Leo says, oh, come on. That's all you got? That's like when somebody says, nah. Like, if you've ever seen people argue online, and they kind of go back and forth, and then eventually one of them just says, nah. Like somebody will say a counterpoint, right? And then the other person will just respond with nah. They'll just write NAH and nothing else. That's when they've officially lost the argument, because that basically is their way of saying, I have no counter argument for the point you just made. So I'm just gonna try to save face by still not accepting that you won. And just say, nah. Like, nah, bro. Nah. That's cap, bro. That's cap. That's another one they'll say. That's cap. Like, I've seen that happen a couple times, and I'm just like, damn, homie just got and he just doesn't want to admit it, basically. That's why it's pointless to argue online. Just make yourself look like a fool. Usually both parties look like fools. But whoever ends up saying nah is basically just conceding defeat and surrender at that moment. They look like the bigger fool. Anyway, Laia says, I don't have any definite proof, but I have a hunch. Yeah, she's catching on to shit.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Leo says, what are seed forms doing in a place like this? Laia says, this has got to be the work of the Illuminus. I almost said Illuminati. It's basically the same thing. They're basically the in-game equivalent for this universe of that. Leo says, the Illuminus. Laia says, they're using seed forms to stir up panic. Leo says, you think so? Let's purify them and report back to headquarters. The fans he just crafted. I did catch that while I was fast forwarding to the crafting and blabbering or whatever at the beginning of the stream. I noticed he created something called the fan weapon, and I was like, oh, he's gonna dual wield fans? And there it is. Yes, actual fans. Old school fans you would, you know. Those are a weapon in this game.
Surprise, motherfucker.
I love the music here. It's kind of a shame to fast forward, which is why I waited a little bit. It's still okay in fast forward too, though. That caught me off guard. Laia says, Laia here. Seed forms have appeared in Agata Island's Holy Light Fest, the secured area. Oh, we got Lou. Also, I should slow this down and give myself more leeway. Lou says, headquarters here. Headquarters? The fuck? Lou says, we've received similar reports from all regions. We suspect numerous simultaneous terrorist attacks. Laia says, has this Holy Light Festa... Shit, I was close. Has the Holy Light Festa been called off? Lou says, yes, unfortunately the festival has been cancelled. Laia says, has there been any damage in the cities? Lou says, there haven't been any direct human injuries, but... it looks like Otoku Mountain has disappeared. The city's in a panic.
What?
Laia says, Otoku Mountain? The mountain is gone? What the hell does a mountain... Well, it is made of water. Leo says, Otoku Mountain is a symbol of new days. The communion of Garal. I'd imagine that the communion is in quite an uproar. Lou says, please first purify the seed in your area, then proceed after the terrorists. Leia says, roger that. Lou, do we know who's behind this? Lou says there is a 97% possibility that it's the Illuminus. Of course. Leia says, just as I thought. One more question. Has there been any report from Hyuga? Lou says he should currently be in the colony hospital undergoing a medical exam. Leia says that's fine then. If anything comes up, let us know. We'll pursue and report back. Lou says good luck. Leia says I figured it was too soon for Hyuga to have found anything anyway. Leo says plus he's got his health to worry about. Leia says, looks like it's up to us this time. Let's go, Lackery.
Son of a bitch.
Trial start. Purify the seed and find the Illuminus spy. I literally just had a trickle left. I was wondering if it went off screen. It kind of did. Mostly because it went behind me. Like the little ad-lib text that the NPCs do whenever you get too far away from them. Hey, where'd Lackery go? Where did insert main character go? Ah!
Fuck! I got poisoned!
So that's a new kind of trap I don't think I've seen before. I was like, damn, what happened? Level 24, yay! I see another one right there in the ground. Oh, fuck.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Fuck! You bastard!
That one I didn't see. The clever bastards put it amongst a bunch of boxes. And they make sure enemies spawn right behind you as you're approaching them too, so you'll get caught in the trap right as they spawn. Just spazzed out there. Oh shit. Lai says, I see you. I won't let you get away. Go get him, Lai. Did she just get caught in a trap? Yeah, she did. Oh shit. Trial cleared. Found the Illuminus spy.
Hey, not bad at all.
Son of a bitch.
You might as well have said that. Leo says, that one there. He's still breathing. The dude says, Guardians. Lai says, what's your goal here? Tell us. And then maybe we'll flip you onto your back. Otherwise, we'll let you just sit there face down in the dirt. The soldier responds, Laya says, hey, spill it!
You bastard!
Oh, I guess he died. Laya says, pfft, I guess you were disposable. He's gone. Leo says, calm down, Laya. Laya says, I am calm. No, you're not.
Do bullshit.
Laya says, Laya here. We found an Illuminus soldier. Unfortunately, he deactivated himself before he could tell us anything. Deactivated himself. There's another way to say self-delete. To be ad-friendly for the algorithm, right? Ah, the internet used to be free. Lou says, we have new information too. The goal of the terrorists appears to be the destruction of the the Communion's headquarters.
What?
Laya says, uh-oh. Alright, we'll head over to Communion headquarters then.
What?
Lou says, good luck. Oh, so the second half of this chapter is going to take place in the temple stage area. I got it. The other dungeon type on this planet. There's a forest area, then there's a temple. I've noticed there's always two types on every planet. There's two types of dungeons, and by type I mean like the zone, like the assets that they use. Here it's either the forest or the temple interior, basically. Laya says, we've got to get back to Otoku City right away. Leo says, yeah, let's hurry. Intermission time. Little player hub. Recharge. Save your game if you're playing the single player mode. Restock on items, character management, all that good shit.
Welcome. Thank you. Welcome. How may I assist you? Thank you.
The fucking pop-in was pretty weird. Otoku City. Protect the festival tomb. Illuminus terrorists attacked during the Holy Light Festa are aimed at Communion headquarters. Sorry, I was reading that a little wrong. Return to Otoku City to stop them. Yeah, see? Temple interior. There it is. Laya says, well, let's head to the Communion headquarters. Leo says, I'd better tell you this now, Laya. There's going to be armed servants at the Communion. Do your best to work together with them. Laya says, you don't need to tell me that. Does he? You've been acting kind of... Laya says, let's move out, Lackery. She's like, I can still boss you around, right? Everybody else is condescending me, so I'm gonna condescend you. A little bit anyway. She wasn't like too mean about it, obviously. Laya says, incredible. Otoku Mountain really is gone. Which basically just means they added a foggy weather effect to cover up the fact that the mountain is still back there. No, it did look like an asset that they could just... Like, they did add a bit of a cloudy fog weather. Like, it doesn't look as clear as before. But it did look like an asset in the background that they could just delete on a whim if they wanted to. And I did remember that happening at some point, and I almost mentioned something about it when we were still watching episode 1. Because I couldn't remember if it happened, because since I played this such a long time ago, the memories of both episode 1 and 2 kind of blurred together in my mind. And I couldn't remember when it happened. I guess it's now. But part of me had thought it was something that happened during episode 1 when you're still playing as Ethan. I was gonna say, like way back then, I was gonna say, doesn't that mountain disappear at some point eventually? Like some kind of crisis happens? It turns out my mind was getting confused with Ambition of the Illuminus events. Excuse me. I barely finished eating like right before I started the stream, so. Laya says, the Toko Mountain really is gone. Yep. Yeah, see, look, over here, looking back in the other direction, not exactly clear skies, but it's like, you know, a little bit more clear. They just added, it really is like they just added a big fog effect to cover up the mountain instead of just deleting it for this segment. Leo says, it looks like the Illuminus weren't trying to assassinate the Divine Maiden after all. Laya says they probably spread those false rumors to throw off security. Pretty smart. Leo says, but why Otoko Mountain? Laya says, we've got to figure out what their plans are. Who this? Who paid the bill? Comes running by. Leo says, we'd better hurry too. Laya says, yeah. The guard says only communion members are allowed past this point. Laya says we're here to offer our support. Leo says the terrorists are planning to destroy the communion facility. The guard says we're aware of that. We're investigating that presently. Leo says then let us help. The guard says that won't be necessary. Oh hell no, this sounds hella sus. He's one of them, isn't he? Laya says, geez, what an unreasonable jerk.
You suck!
Okay, never mind. I was like, don't tell me it's an enemy in disguise just trying to stall us. No, it's not. This other guard says, this is terrible. The guard machines are out of control. Fuck! The guy says, what did you say? The chick says, the guard systems have been hijacked. Laya says, it looks like they're gonna need our help after all. Convenient timing. Let's go. The guard says, hey! Wait! Stop!
You son of a...
Nope, we're out of here. Trial starts. Get to the bottom of the communion headquarters. Here we go. So we'll be fighting a lot of robots and machines like last time. There they are. They're supposed to be on our side, but you know. In classic fashion, the enemies hijacked them, so we gotta fight them now. Reminds me of Gears of War 4 and 5. The non-canon ones is how I consider them. That Microsoft made to just try and milk a dead horse. I guess if that's the way of putting it. But anyway. So at the beginning of... this is kind of spoilers for Gears 4 and 5. You know, if you're worried about that. Although I don't think anybody gives a shit, to be honest. Laya says it's the Illuminus. This is their doing after all. So what I was gonna say is that at the beginning of Gears of War 4, like, the main characters, I'll try to keep it vague. The main characters are not part of, like, the, they're not part of the same, like, country military faction from the original 3 games. They're actually just kind of, they've gone like rogue. And so the guard, they have automated soldiers now. Obviously controlled by, you know, AI. They're robot soldiers. And you have to fight against them. However, by the time Gears 5 starts, the main characters decide to rejoin with the military, so they're on the same side, against a common threat that they now have. But you still end up fighting the robot soldiers anyway in the next game, because this happens because the enemies find a way to hijack the robots, so you still end up having to fight them. Even though now they're technically supposed to be on your side, you know, they found a plot-friendly excuse for making you still have to fight against them. So it kind of reminds me of that here. Yeah, I kept it as vague as possible, but that's more or less basically what happened. So. The daggers. Totally off topic, but Gears 5 ended on a cliffhanger that I think now is never going to be resolved, because it definitely didn't make enough money for them to make a sequel. And the only reason I'm fine with it is because I already didn't consider anything past Gears 3 to be canon. And it's not even Epic Games anymore making it, so it's just like, eh. Like, they definitely wrapped up the story, and the franchise in general was wrapped up very nicely with Gears 3, and they were just like, Microsoft wanted to milk it like they wanted to do with Halo, the Halo series, so Epic Games was like, alright, you can have it then, do whatever you want with it. And then one of the head honchos who worked on the original 3 games even went to Microsoft to continue working on the game. Like, he also saw potential in the continuing the franchise, I guess, but then they ran it into the ground. They kind of fucked it up with short-sighted business decisions. Surprise, surprise. I would not have expected that from Microsoft. So they almost did the same thing with Halo. Halo 4 and 5, which I think 5 was, yeah, it was called 5, yeah. But they did end up making another game, and I haven't played it yet though. Halo Infinite, I think it's called. I'm not even sure if it's a sequel to Halo 5. I assume it is though. Holy shit! I got the same feeling from both franchises though. Both franchises, the original writers kind of wrapped stuff up with a trilogy. Like Halo 3 and Gears of War 3, that was supposed to be the cutoff. And then Microsoft bought both franchises to keep milking it. And both of them felt equally like when you play Halo 4 and 5, and when you play Gears of War 4 and 5, it's just kind of like, this wasn't really necessary, you know? Like, it's alright, but it's like, the story ended with 3. You know, it's just kind of, it just doesn't hit the same after that. It just kind of feels like you're playing fan fiction at that point, because it kind of is. It's just Microsoft's fan fiction of whatever happened at the end of the story, basically. It's just Microsoft's fan fiction of here's what we're gonna say happened after the ending of the franchise with Halo 3 and Gears 3, you know? Like, they just extended the story. Did Lion just die while in beast form? Or nanoblast form or whatever? Like, do you just instantly revert back to normal and fall to the ground? I gotta see that, hold on. Okay, so she transformed and she got shot and yep. She just turned into that blue sort of silhouette, shrunk back down and went flying across the room and just fucking out for the count. The magic wand. So you really have to attach spells onto the weapons? That's the only way to use techniques? Or is it different if you're playing as an actual force class? Because he's playing as a hunter, so... You have to just carry around a bunch of staffs and wands with different spells that you want to use? You can't just access all your spells at once with any weapon? If that's the case, that's kind of... That's questionable. Compared to, like, Phantasy Star Online, you know? It's a little questionable. Lai says, we'll finish them now. Go get him, girl.
You son of a... A test of your reflexes.
Hey. That was actually somewhat appropriate there. Meets the community headquarters bottom. The bottom.
Hey, not bad. Not bad at all.
Thank you, Laya. I do my best.
Son of a bitch.
Like how your party members give you stuff. Got a good rank. Leo says, I don't see any signs of the Illuminus in this area. Laya says they might have hidden a bomb somewhere around here. Aha! Ethan Weber! It's him!
Dylan! You son of a bitch!
Leo says, Ethan, why are you here? He's running. Laya says, hey, wait!
Fuck!
Damn, it's closed off. He got away. Leo says, why was Ethan here? Laya says, well, maybe it was another abduction attempt. Leo says, don't start with that again, Laya. Laya says, what's on the other side of this door? Leo, behind you! Oh, he literally said that.
Motherfucker.
I just hit the button because... Oh, here we go. Another reused acid boss. Yep. Another boss from episode 1 all over again.
You son of a bitch!
God, he's like that other... Well, yeah, he's kind of like Magashi's. Where he teleports away and all that crap. I mean, we've seen this boss fight before in episode 1, so I'm just gonna fast forward to it. The music is pretty good, but I mean, it's the same exact fight all over again. At this rate, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up fighting Magashi in his seed form again later, too. I bet that's gonna happen. It's a good thing they used boss enemies that were generic enough for them to be able to reuse them while still keeping it lore friendly. Magashi being the only one that would not have fit that criteria in general, but they found a way around it. Bring him back to life. Easy. Just make Magashi alive again. And then there you go. You can reuse his boss fights. Like fucking...
Bruh.
Laya says the door's open. Leo says, was it damaged by the machine's attack just now? Sure, let's go with that. Hey, they had to get clever, alright? Games back in these days were on a budget. Laya says, what is this? Yeah, what is it? What the fuck? These like generators for the whole place or something? Shit, there's people in there. What the fuck? Leo says, Laya, be careful. Laya says, this is... Phone machines? What's going on? Leo says, what's in there? Communion of Goral girls. Several of them. Are they trying to clone the maiden or something? What is this? Oh, they're all girls? What the fuck? Okay, this is kind of creepy. Where the hell's this going? Master Rutsu says, you have my gratitude. There aren't words to express my thanks for saving the Sisters of the Holy Light. Is that what you call them? Laia says, the Sisters of the Holy Light? Rutsu says, they are young women selected as Divine Maiden candidates. Ah, oh, I see. Okay. They train every day to become the next Divine Maiden. Laia says, those girls were packed in some sort of a capsule. What was that all about? Guess they don't ask questions. Oh, there it is. Rutsu says, I'm sorry. I cannot reveal that information. Leo says, if the Illuminus were trying to destroy that device, we're gonna need to know what its purpose is. Also, why did Ethan go into that room and disappear? Laia says, yeah. And those girls were all unconscious. They weren't just asleep. It's like they were all in a deep coma or something. Rutsu says they were probably just tired from their training.
Holy shit!
Ain't buying that. Laia says, training? What do you mean? Rutsu says the training of the Sisters of the Holy Light is extremely rigorous. It is not uncommon for them to lose consciousness.
Do bullshit.
Laia says, so that machine is used to train them to become maidens? How exactly does that work? He's gonna be like, you're asking too many questions again. Yep. I'll leave that up to your imagination. You don't want to do that, dude. You really do. It doesn't look good, alright? It's not a good look. I don't know if you get the subtext of the way they're asking you questions right now. That is not the answer you want to give to the cops. And of course, Laia says nothing. She just stayed quiet. Leo says, alright then. But why did Otoku Mountain disappear? Rutsu says we are currently investigating that. Laia says, I have another question. Rutsu says, my apologies, but we're currently very busy. May I please ask you to leave this place? Oh, hell no, he's running us out. Laia says, hold on just a minute. Leo says, Laia, let's just leave quietly. Laia says, alright, fine. It's the second time she's had to concede like that. She ain't happy. Laia says, that Rutsu sure is a suspicious character. You fucking telling me, man. He's been shady since the first episode, man. Like, that motherfucker's definitely hiding something. Yeah. Oh my god. I didn't mean to... Like, seriously, I didn't see that. Laia says he's definitely hiding something. I was actually trying to find a different way to say that. And so I was like, he's definitely hiding something. Right as she said, I fucking jinxed. Like, me and her basically said it at the same exact time. Leo says, is that your hunch talking again? I gotta stop calling out what's happening in the script seconds before it happens. Laia says, don't mock me!
You bastard!
That's a cool effect on the ground. The waves, the way they're doing that. Laia says, what's up, Blue? Any new information? Blue says, I analyzed the data you sent. Unfortunately, I was unable to learn much new information from it. But it appears to be a power system similar to an LSS. What the fuck is that? Okay, well that time, I mean, it was pretty obvious she was gonna ask. Laia says, what's an LSS? The mountain's back, by the way. Did they just forget Or are they about to say that, hey, the mountain's back? What is this? Leo says lattice shield system. It's a device that generates a strong mesh shield using photons. I've seen one before. Laya says, why do you think those girls were locked in a system like an LSS? Lou says, an LSS uses the spirit energy of living beings. As creepy as it looked? Leo says that's right. I remember that Karen, the Divine Maiden, used one before. They're harnessing their energy? Laya says, so what would this LSS be used to shield against here? Lou says, I would have to assume it's for the seed. Laya says, the seed? The seed were confined at the unification point, weren't they? Months ago, yeah. Leo says, yeah, the remaining hives are being destroyed. In recent months, the threat of the seed has decreased. The danger of a seed invasion is lessening. I still never bothered explaining where these things came from. Again, unless I missed it at some point in episode 1. Laya says, I'm really wondering what Ethan Weber was up to back there. Of course, you're obsessed with him, we know. She says, it almost looked like he wanted us to see him. We might need our tinfoil hats soon. Shit, I don't have mine next to me. Leo says, could it be that he was trying to lead us to that device? Oh, he was secretly whistleblowing. He's playing 5D chess. He was like, guys, over here, check this out. The communion of Goral is doing some shady shit, is what he wanted to say. Laya says, why would he do that? Leo says, an LSS uses large amounts of spirit energy from its hosts. Maybe Ethan wanted us to help those girls. They're basically being harnessed for energy. That's what it looked like as soon as we saw them, let's be honest. Like, there was some kind of, like, alien shit there. Lou says, I will continue analyzing the device, but... Laya says, you're saying we shouldn't expect too much, right? Lou says, that is correct. Laya says, so, can we head home now? Lou says, before that, I have some bad news. Oh shit. Laya says, I don't want to hear it. Well, you have to! Lou says, Lightmaster Rutsu has issued a formal complaint about Ethan Weber. They're definitely going to say something about the mountain. They're showing it directly. Also, I noticed the cloudy sky effect actually is still there. So the mountain is actually overlaid on top of the... I should do this for your guys' perspective. On top of the clouds in the background. So they did just delete it from existence when we got here, and then now it's back up. I'm talking about from a game design perspective, not lore friendly, obviously. Breaking immersion here. Lou says the complaint isn't about attempted abduction of Sisters of the Holy Light, but destruction leading to the disappearance of Otoku Mountain. Well, now it's starting to seem like they're connected. Maybe the energy they're harnessing is to keep the mountain there. The energy they're harnessing from the girls. Maybe they're constantly, like, funneling their energy, or having it sucked out of them, depending on how you look at it, to create the mountain. And then he shut off the device or interrupted its process somehow because he was trying to save the girls from that. And that's what made the mountain disappear. If it's like made of like ether, basically. Talking in FF14 terms. Like spirit energy. Causing that much fear in hundreds of millions of believers is bad. If Ethan really is behind it, well, maybe that's the point. He's trying to, like, you know, blow the whistle and be like, your faith is a lie. I mean, connect the dots here. They said they suspect Karen was trying to escape from the communion of Goral. Maybe she found out some shit and shared it with Ethan. Some shady stuff about the communion. And they're both trying to, like, expose it or something. I don't know. Lou says, but the destroyed photon energy supply system has been repaired. So Otoko Mountain has already returned. Okay, that confirms it. Yeah, the girls are doing it. The spirit energy from the girls is being used to maintain the mountain there. That's pretty obvious from all that. Laya says, maybe the commune is hiding something. The truth about those secret experiments, maybe? Yeah, I just spelled it out. I'll figure it out. And it could be that they're trying to divert attention away from that. Lou says the president thinks so too. Headquarters plans to put all their effort into uncovering the truth about the secret experiments rather than Ethan's capture. But man, those are the correct priorities. Also, this has gone well over an hour, so I gotta... Give me one sec. Hit the button. Okay. Okay, just had to make sure. Laya says, so I guess they've rejected my theory that Ethan's a terrorist. Well, it's probably better that way. Let's go home, Lackery. The terrorist attack on the Holy Light Festa was the work of the Illuminus. But the targeted communion of Goral is hiding a secret, it seems. And what was the purpose of Ethan's sudden appearance? What's behind the mysterious device located deep in the temple containing the Sisters of the Holy Light? Find out next time on Phantasy Star Universe Ambition of the Illuminus. Oh, and also Leogini S. Barrafort has given you their party card.
Dylan! You son of a bitch.
And we got new free missions to pair up with the story missions we just did. And yeah, that's it for this chapter. That was chapter 7, the Festival of the Light. Alright folks, well, keeping with the pace that we've had so far, that means we're pretty much wrapping up the video here. Next chapter might actually... It's either going to be a shorter than usual stream. I'm going to leave it end at like between 50 to 60 minutes, depending on how much I pause to blabber and yap. Or it'll be the same length. Well, yeah, it all depends. It'll either be longer or shorter, depending on that. But it's most likely, so this is my point, this is where I was getting at, I almost got off track, is it might actually be shorter than usual, because that little bar looks... I don't want to hover the mouse over it, because we might see, like, you know, spoilers or whatever. But yeah, that little bar down there looks a little short compared to all the ones that came before it. So, we'll see what happens next stream, because the one after it looks super long. So... I might still just stop it there, depending on how long it is. Like, if it's less than 30 minutes, I doubt that. It won't be. But if it had been that kind of situation, obviously I would just keep going into the next chapter and cut off the stream somewhere else. But we'll see what happens. Either way, like I said, I'm done for now. So, as always, thank you all very much for watching. I appreciate the support across Twitch and YouTube, wherever you decide to watch. And as I always say, please do take care of yourselves. Stay safe out there. Don't die. And until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, and good night. And I will see you all next time. Peace.
You son of a bitch.